back and bigger than ever. It's the unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Presented by the Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and Bob.
All right, we are back. It is the unofficial 40 here on Soonerscoop.com podcast, and I don't know, that intro might be a little disrespectful since Army's coming to town. I don't really know how to feel this week. Feel like you're always walking on eggshells about whether or not you have to praise. It's just how it is.
But that's
don't
the thing.
say anything you'll regret.
No, I'm not going to. And by no means am I shitting on the military service or whatever,
academies.
The academies that everything these guys go through, because there's a tremendous
They're better men than we are,
respect
by far.
And honor and discipline and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like you have to say that before you say, but OU's a 32-point favorite this weekend.
Yeah. It's one of the, I mean, we've been through it before. I've been through it before. Air Force twice. And it's always weird.
It's still really, really cool.
It's always a weird deal because there's going to be a lot of pageantry involved.
It brings a different vibe.
I hope we get some, F-18s, buzzing the tower, if you will, in the pregame during the national anthem. I'm sure that Tinker will send some guys out, and it'll be cool, and it'll be a nice, a nice way to celebrate the country, and then have a football game. But it is definitely a lot of walking around on eggshells, trying to, and it was kind of funny yesterday because Mike Houck does a great job at OU. Hi, Mike's wife. I know you listen to the podcast because we hear she tells him all the horrible things that we say, and then he tells me. So,
a great Panther.
Yeah, Putnam City North. So anyway, Mike does a great job, and I know that he's just got to be sweating this week. Now, the first 2 days of media are over, but how awful would it be if one of your players said something disrespectful?
I was cutting up the Neville Gallimore stuff this morning. What if Neville Gallimore is just like, I'm Canadian.
Screw these guys.
Screw them. I support the...
I bet we could beat them.
I support the Mounties.
They're not... The Mounties are the police officers.
They
have their own army. Yes.
The Canadian Armed Forces.
They have their own... I was kind of hoping he'd say that the... what is that, the Thunderbirds? Is that their Blue Angels? Because I've seen them at an air show before, and they're really good.
Is that what they're called?
Even Amani Bledsoe, before he answered the first question, did a 20-second thing about how much he respects Army and all that stuff, and then he answered questions. I mean, that's just weird.
Has there ever been anybody that's just no, I don't support the troops? I mean, I don't know any assholes out there.
Eddie, I don't know. The podcast isn't over. Things that come out of your mouth.
I would never go that far.
And it's kind of one of those things there's a football game to be played.
I want to say things I believe in.
I don't think this is a good game for Oklahoma to be playing because, you've got a defense that struggled last week against Iowa State, struggled against the pass. You're going to play this triple option team. It disrupts your entire season. And it doesn't really help you get any better as a secondary because the only thing we're going to find out about the secondary is who's going to screw up and let somebody behind them.
Yeah, who's going to have the lapse.
And,
if that happens,
have a mental error.
Then you really have a meltdown. But, and we can get into it, and we talked about it in the postgame show, but I don't think it was as bad as everybody wants to make it out to seem in Ames. Hello, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Wow, that feels like I'm supposed to come in with the hammer and disagree. Let me start though, like Amani Bledsoe. Army sucks, go Navy. So anyway, we've got that out of the way.
Yeah, I've always been a Navy guy. I got family in the Navy.
Yeah, I've got 2 Academy grads as cousins, so Navy is thick in my family, so that's a big deal. But obviously, all jokes aside, total respect for the Army guys. But I'm with Eddie. I know everybody kind of expects me to come in and be like, "Oh, this is terrible," and you take away Parnell Motley's 2 terrible tackles, and one of them, I think people kind of forget on that second one, he was falling when Butler made that catch.
By the way, if you rewatch that, look at what Khalil Houghton is doing. he is just standing there flat-footed
Houghton
as Hakeem Butler runs past Parnell Motley.
I mean,
and it's almost like, oh, crap, he's still in bounds. I better go get him.
If you want to shit on somebody, I don't know if I'll join the party, but it's probably a little deserved with his play over the last 2-3 weeks, for the first 3 weeks of the season.
I kind of thought he was going to have maybe like a Gabe Lynn kind of senior year where he kind of sneaks into the all Big 12 talk at the end of the year. Gabe Lynn had a really nice year that year he made the move to safety.
And he was
I
also
thought
a
maybe
corner
you were
that
gonna see
moved to
that
safety.
Houghton, and it's just not happening.
Your mic, hold on, we got an issue. Your mic or your headphones?
Just the headphones.
Okay. Continue.
Thank you. That sounds great now. I couldn't hear. I needed some more treble like Eminem.
Are you going deaf?
I think I might be, to be honest.
I have
I
not.
thought that was a Chappelle skit when he wanted the treble.
I have not kept up
Maybe
with
it
the Eminem rap battles with Machine Gun
MGK?
Kelly.
I didn't know that MGK
Was still around.
well, I didn't even know that like he was a respected rapper. Or is he not? I could be completely off base on that, but I have
He had that
enjoyed the back and forth between
Theme
them.
song for that horrible Netflix show with Will Smith,
What is that?
Home or something like that.
I don't think I ever saw that.
I like Machine Gun Kelly. I don't dislike him.
I'm very neutral. I don't have any.
Exactly. I don't know one
He was an
song.
actor on that Showtime series they had called Roadies.
I don't think I saw that, but I
Oh,
know
it
what
was
you're
so
talking
good. It
about.
got canceled.
I know the show.
Cameron
that
Crowe
you're
did
talking
it. Anyway, we digress. So
That ends for.
I will
white
say
guys
this
talking
about
rap.
the Army. Like, the coolest thing this week was talking to Tim Kish because he coached at 8 years at the Army.
Something I had no idea about.
Really?
I didn't even put two and two together, I guess.
So between 84 and 91, I think it was, or 92, and he, has been talking to the team all week just about kind of what these kids go through, and he talked to us about it yesterday.
Yeah, for the most part, it's up at 6 o'clock for roll call, and they're down on the plains, which is grass fields, and in their companies, and starting the day that way. Then essentially they go to breakfast at 7 o'clock. Got to be in class by 7:30. Have classes all the way up to about 11:30. We used to meet with our players. I don't know if they still do this, but we used to meet with our players at lunchtime, the hour they had off at lunch. That was our position meeting time. And then they went back to class from about 12:30 to 3. Practice started at 3. Then they lifted after practice because that's the only time they could lift. And then they'd go back to dinner and be in the rooms about 7 o'clock and lights out at 11. So it was a full day.
And when we talked to Grant Calcaterra on Monday, you could see, not like the fear in his eyes, but he was just like, man, that stuff's crazy. Like, I don't want any part of that.
No, I mean
15 minutes to eat lunch every day.
I mean, you talk about a regimented schedule. That ain't for me.
I thought it used to be horrific just trying to find a ride to lunch when I was a sophomore in high school. I can't imagine just having 15 minutes. Because we'd have to walk to like the nearest Chinese place, and you'd have to get in. You had like 15 minutes to eat because you had to order your food, eat it, and then walk all the way back another 30 minutes.
I mean, I thought my life was hard.
That was like
Hanging
a
out the
walk of
feedie house
shame
and
lunch.
Skipping class every day.
Going into the file cabinet to
Get test files.
get your test so you could cheat.
Find good prices on Adderall. I mean, it was just. It's not how I envisioned college, but as we said,
You would have never made it in the Army.
I wouldn't have made it in
A lot of places.
I don't think Eddie would have made it in the Coast Guard.
Yeah, I'd probably get seasick. I wouldn't have been able to do that either. I mean, I don't like going on a cruise. I don't want to go on a cruise, let alone go to the Coast Guard where you have to be on the water at all times.
So this was kind of the dancing on eggshells that I was talking about when you talk to the players. Here's us talking to Tre Norwood yesterday. I know Coach Kish has talked a lot to you guys about his experience at Army and those guys. How tough is it kind of balancing that respect for those kids and then having to go between the lines and know that they're going to try and chop your heads off?
I mean, to me, it's not tough at all. I mean, there's two sides of it. I mean, those guys, I have mad respect for them just because of the things they do, not only on the football field playing Division I football, but also, I mean, the things that they do off the field as well. talking with Coach Kish, he gave us kind of the rundown and like their everyday schedule. And I mean, those guys have a schedule that many people couldn't go through. You know what I mean? Because they have to serve us. You know what I mean? That's kind of their main job, and then football as well. So it's like two battlefields for them. So it's much respect to them. And I mean, it's going to be like that way Saturday. But I mean, in between those lines, you know what I mean? There's no friends on either side of the ball. We just got to go out there, play our game, and get the job done.
How much does just hearing about what they go through every day prepare you guys to know how hard those guys are going to fight once they get on the field?
It makes you appreciate them much more, 10 times more. I mean, you have to have respect for every opponent that you play, but knowing what those guys go through, and then knowing after college and after football, they go serve our country and protect us, it just brings the respect level, it raises the bar even high. So it's just one of those things that, like I was saying, it's just a matter of respect, and I mean, just eager to go out there and play.
I know you're going to get a fight on the field.
Yeah, just I mean, like you said, knowing in between those lines, there's going to be no friends, and you know they're going to bring in their all, so we have to bring our all as well.
I think did they play San Diego State in the bowl game last year, Army?
That sounds right.
So I think I remember watching that.
They won, didn't they?
It was that. San Diego State had that. Was it Penny?
Yeah,
the running
Rashad
back,
Penny.
Rashad Penny, who's playing a lot in the NFL this year.
Really good running back.
But they were outstanding. I mean, that game was fun to watch. I mean, this is a team. I think for OU fans, it's going to be the older OU fans. It's going to be really bizarre seeing a triple option team on Owen Field again. You know, Barry Switzer's probably going to love seeing it. But I watched some of their game last week, and there's so much misdirection. The fullback. I mean, if you haven't seen it in person, if you're younger, just the fullback can drive you insane in an offense like this.
What was the key word of the week? Discipline?
Yeah, I mean, assignment football.
Assignment football.
On assignment.
Yeah.
On assignment. It's a game that, there's a lot of things that can go wrong just as far as if you're not sound defensively that they'll take advantage of. But at the same time, I think it's a game, too, that, if OU... If they don't have any major screw-ups, I think it's a game that they could... Frankly, I think it could be a ass-kicking on Saturday. Like a brutal ass-kicking.
By the way, I want to mention the Unofficial 40, our title sponsor, presenting sponsor, the Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. I've been out there. It's a fantastic casino. You can now you can roll the dice. They got the craps tables. They got the roulette, which Josh apparently is a roulette master. Can play it for hours, which he's the only person I know that can do that. But just the restaurants out there, the gameplay, it's just a fantastic experience. The hotel is fantastic. I know it's been ridiculously hot. They have one of the coolest pools in Oklahoma to go hang out at. But it's just a short drive. If you're listening, we got a lot of listeners in Dallas, a lot of people in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Make that drive over to Durant. Spend your game weekends over there. A lot of great sports bars in there, the Tailgaters. They got a bowling alley in the district. They got a movie theater. It's just a great place to spend a weekend and have a good time. But the steakhouse is fantastic that they've got. But Gillies they've got the mechanical bull out there that you can ride. So, yeah, I mean, Choctaw Casino and Durant, a major part of why we can bring you this podcast and why we bring it to you every week because of their sponsorship of the program. So make sure you get out there, ChoctawCasinos.com, go check it out, and appreciate their sponsorship of the show. By the way, you mentioned everything that this Army game brings with it. One of the things that is really going to be huge is the defensive line, and Lincoln Riley was very complimentary of them. That's the first thing he said in his press conference. So
kind of a backhanded shot at the defensive backs as well. I kind of
compliment the defensive line. Well, I mean, they didn't play particularly well.
But to go out of his way to say and to really kind of impress
more the linebackers, maybe.
Yeah, I thought
Curtis
it was kind
Bolton,
of a backhanded compliment.
Curtis Bolton is where he needs to be, and Josh, you've done the Monday Morning Idiot. I'd like to bring you on. He's a great player because he's where he needs to be, but he is leading the team in missed tackles. He and then Buki is second. But Curtis Lofton has got to do a better job.
He did it again.
Of making the tackle. Curtis Bolton.
You said Lofton.
Did I? I was just getting shit for this yesterday from Bob as we were leaving practice.
You know,
Put the counter at 1.
That was the thing. Doing the post-game report card, that was the toughest thing because Bolton is more than any other player right where he should be. He's almost always there ahead of the ball. Like, he is in a position to make so many big plays, and some of them he makes, and then some of them he just makes brutal misses, like the goal line with Montgomery where he misses the tackle in the backfield that would have really changed that possession for Iowa State. That was a huge play, and he misses it. But at the same time, he was the only guy there. So I don't really know how to gauge that sometimes. But there's no question. I mean, they need him to be more consistent in his tackling. And that's why people are, I realize that right now, anything that goes wrong defensively is Mike Stoops. And I'm certainly been one of those guys that's been pretty adamant that there are some problems that have just been persistent year after year. And this is one of them. So, I mean, that's part of the conversation. But the bottom line is those guys were in places to make plays, and they didn't make them.
By the way, I made a mistake. Besides not calling him by the right name, Buki is actually leading the team in missed tackles with 7. And that's a lot for 3 games.
Plano thinks he should be off the field.
Curtis Bolton is second with 4 missed tackles. Now, Curtis Bolton also has more tackles than anybody else on the team.
Did
you see who had the worst tackling grade against Iowa State? It was Ryan Jones.
Yeah, weird.
I don't really remember him being on the field enough to make that grade.
His overall tackling grade for 3 games is in red. I mean, the only people that are worse are Tre Norwood, and I don't even know why Jordan Kelly would be on here, but he is. Tre Norwood and Ryan Jones, the worst 2 tacklers on the team, according to Pro Football Focus grading system.
Those are just numbers to some, though.
You start to see Justin Broyles on the field a lot more, even when it looked like it was going to be a running situation on Saturday.
And here's the thing, too. And here's what I noticed inside the numbers. I sent you guys some stats yesterday. Parnell Motley has been targeted more than any other player on the field, 18 targets. So he's had more chances to screw up than anybody else. But when you look at the numbers, actually Trey Brown is doing a worse job at defending receivers. And these numbers are hard to say because, sometimes, like Trey Brown is rated the highest. Well, that may be because he played against Florida Atlantic and had some of those deep shots that Robinson didn't connect on and may have had a receiver behind him or something like that. But it's just we're trying to kind of piece together where this defense is going wrong. And we have some numbers to talk about, but clearly, I think the thing that stands out more than anything is Tre Norwood's really bad at tackling in the secondary. He's even worse than Parnell Motley. Like Parnell Motley, everybody is so down on him, but really, you take his day against Iowa State, the number of times that he was targeted, compared to everybody else on the field, he was one of the better overall players on the day. Plus, he had the interception, which nobody else is, getting a turn. Buki's been close, but he still hasn't done it.
Yeah, they're
Parnell Motley is not my biggest concern on this defense.
Defense is still trying to find a way to create turnovers, and I think that's kind of an interesting fact going into, obviously league play when you're going to have to force turnovers at some point. And I thought I
don't think you can say shit about the pressure though. I mean, we put that list up there.
It's been better.
They have 50 total pressures.
At some point, you have to get home.
Georgia
you have
has
to make
15,
the play.
But they are. I mean, Iowa State.
Oklahoma State's leading the country in sacks.
People get pissed off about this because they're being stupid. But Iowa State max protected all that game. They're acting. I was driving back from practice last night listening to Al's show, and they're talking about Mike Stoops needs to blitz more. He blitzed his ass off against Iowa State. They just picked it up.
I think that people don't count a blitz unless he sacked him for a 10-yard loss.
Exactly.
And they're doing delayed blitzes this year. I mean, they're doing a lot of corner blitzes, safety blitzes. They're doing a lot of creative stuff.
Like I think that there's still people that live in this world that think you're not playing great defense unless you're holding a team to under 50 total yards and you have 5 turnovers and you're just completely dominating and suffocating somebody.
You know where a lot of these missed tackles are coming from, too? The backups. It's like Buki and Curtis Bolton are bad, but some of the guys with missed tackles, I mean, just go to like Miguel Edwards, Jordan Kelly, Nick Bonito, Deshaun White. It's not Caleb Kelly has 2 missed tackles. He barely plays.
In a way,
but,
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, the tackling is bad. I'm not trying to cover up. This defense has some problems.
And but then again,
don't get it wrong.
You look at the 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, and there was a thread on the board about the alignment and everything. It took David Montgomery falling forward to pick up the first down. I mean, if they almost had the guy in the backfield. So I mean, you can bitch and complain about the way that they set it up, but it was pretty much the perfect play call for what they wanted to do. They just didn't make the play in the backfield. I don't know. I mean, Josh, am I just being too big of a homer?
You know, guys, I don't
say yes.
This one is a weird game.
Say yes.
Because there's
kill you.
Wow. All right. Well, I don't even know where to follow that.
Josh, do not. No, you speak your mind. Don't let Eddie's.
The first piece, the thing that's getting overlooked in the Pro Football Focus is everyone making a story about this Caleb Kelly redshirting. The number 3 player on PFF is Brian Meade on Oklahoma's defense for the season. He's got the 3rd best defensive rating. So clearly this was a meditated decision by Lincoln Riley and company. No, that number just blows me up. That's one of those things that like.
But he's had 17 total snaps.
I know. And that's one of those things that like where the numbers can lie a little bit. I know people are like, oh, it's bull because numbers are like there are things that do make it look a little odd.
But I mean, Jordan Kelly is 6. He's had 12 snaps.
Yeah,
that's like the guy that's hitting 450 for a baseball team that has 25 plate appearances over the season.
But for me, guys, wouldn't you say that Eddie's absolutely right. You've got to create turnovers. But to me, at some point, if Oklahoma can continue to make the pressure they're making with their front 7, the turnovers will come. Like I just believe that you're creating chaos. You're making quarterbacks make faster decisions than they want to make. You're making running backs have to change direction, do things where ball security can get loose. All these things that we're told are what create turnovers are happening for Oklahoma. The turnovers just aren't happening. And I think that's largely an anomaly. I think that's more of that will come in time, and I think it will make Oklahoma's defense look better. The Iowa State game, like I said, I mean, you take out the 2 huge Hakeem Butler plays, that game's not very competitive. Oklahoma really, I mean, it wasn't like last year when Iowa State was moving the ball up and down the field, and they were they were dictating to Oklahoma's defense what they were going to do. This year, it was 2 huge plays and then 1 nice drive, and that's what they had. And so I think people, like I said, and I get it, everybody was waiting for the shoe to drop.
Right.
And then as soon as that first play happened with Butler, well, here we go. Like this is it. Now we're pissed again.
I said this
get it.
on the board. It's like some people they really like being in toxic relationships. And I gave a link to 13
ways that you're in a toxic relationship.
13 ways to tell you're in a
13 telltale signs.
Yes, exactly. But like it's a lot of people were waiting, and Bob said this in his post-game story, they were waiting for the other shoe to drop. And now that it's dropped, it's like it's their chance to pounce. And I had this argument with my text group the other day because I could tell they have been on Sooner Scoop all day because last night, all of a sudden, I started getting all these hateful Mike Stoops texts. And I said, you've been on the Scoop all day, haven't you? And he's like, you bet your ass I have been. And I said, look, I understand you want Mike Stoops fired right now. I understand that. You're upset. But think this through. Like, he has to play a Big 12 schedule before Lincoln Riley can definitively say this is or is not working. Like, so you're driving yourself crazy right now, demanding that Mike Stoops be fired.
And I would still say, what are we doing here? I mean, we're talking about people are bitching that they didn't win by enough. Is basically what it comes down to.
They won by 10 on the road to a team that beat them a year ago, and they still went to the college football playoff.
You won by double digits on the road. If you at the beginning of the season, if you would have polled OU fans and said you're going to beat Iowa State by double digits on the road, do you take it right now?
Absolutely.
There's 95% of the people out there that would say yes.
We're not even sitting here being like, oh, you guys watch Iowa State. They're going to be really good. They're better than you think. We're not saying that
I'm
at all.
not saying that at all. I think they're a 6-7 win team.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that OU played well defensively. They played good.
And I'm not saying that Hakeem Butler is a surefire first-round draft pick either. I think they made him look like a superstar, and I'm not sure he is one.
I would pump the brakes on the idea that Hakeem is
the old guard has been pumping that, by the way.
Let's pump the brakes on that. Maybe watch a little bit more football over the weekend. But
yeah, watch the Iowa game and then come back to me that Hakeem Butler's a star. He had like 4 drops against Iowa.
That's the other thing too is the idea that, well, Iowa State only scored 3 points against Iowa, so they should score X amount of points against Oklahoma. That's not the way that college football works.
Nobody wants to talk about the fact that David Montgomery only rushed for 82 yards either.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count to some people.
And you know who is a big-time NFL guy? David Montgomery.
Yes, absolutely.
So
that's why I think, going into this week, if there's one thing this defense has shown, it's they can stop the run a little bit. That's why I think it could get really out of hand on Saturday.
Which, guys, to me, we talking about it's a tough thing because I get it from the fans' perspective. They've been burned so many times with this defense that I understand. Like there's a shell shock to it. Like, oh, this has happened again. We bought in again, and here we go again. Like, so I kind of understand it. But the problems from the Iowa State game did not feel like the problems we saw last year. I mean, maybe maybe you go to the Oklahoma State game where they did give up a lot of big plays, and so there's something to be said to that. But this was tackling. If Oklahoma tackles reasonably well, they win that game by 20 points.
Right. And I also think that it's one of those situations too that, and this is 100% an excuse. So I don't want anybody to think it differently, but it was the first road game, and I think that you wondered where leadership was going to come from. And not necessarily that they were lacking on Saturday, but I did think it was important to note that, you're going to go through ups and downs in a season, I feel like. And you kind of saw that on Saturday, just in that maybe the intensity or the passion for the way that they tackled in the first 2 games. It definitely wasn't there on Saturday. The rallying to the ball, the urgency, the gang tackling. You didn't see that on Saturday
until the fourth quarter. You saw a little bit of it in the fourth quarter.
Until they absolutely had to have it. And in the fourth quarter, how many points did they give up?
Effort.
They gave up 3 points in the fourth quarter. So when they needed stops, they came up with stops. And I think that that's a good sign. But you have every right to be pissed off about the way they tackled. I mean, that was bullshit.
Here's where it sits with me. And Josh mentioned, the defensive grading from Pro Football Focus. Just going down the list, ignoring Brian Meade and Jordan Kelly being in the top 10. Neville Gallimore, very big bright spot for you on defense so far this year. Curtis Bolton, with the exception of the poor tackling. Amani Bledsoe's been good. Parnell Motley, everything except tackling has been great for him. Mark Jackson, everything across the board has been really good with him. I don't think anybody ever thought that they would get this solid a play from their jack linebacker after all the Addison Gums panic happened.
I think so. Do you think even OU is surprised by how well this has gone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then Kenneth Mann has been solid. I mean, you have a lot of good things. Now, I think Tre Norwood is a little bit of a mirage. I mean, like, he gets a pass all the time, but his size is a problem. And this is my biggest issue.
I mean, he's taller than Trey Brown.
But he's
skinnier.
Thin.
He's skinnier than Trey.
I see what you mean.
He might be skinnier than Bob.
I was saying something.
It is interesting that Parnell Motley
can you move
is
your microphone? I can't see.
Parnell Motley's the kind of the scapegoat when you look at Tre Norwood. I mean, he's the one that got juked out of his shoes. He's the one that missed a lot of tackles on Saturday.
Josh, you don't seem like you.
Motley made plays. Motley in the first half made a lot of nice plays.
I heard a little groan when I mentioned Tre Norwood. Was that a good groan? Like you agree with me or disagreed with me on Tre Norwood?
No, I'm Team Tre Brown. Tre Brown should be starting for this team. Like I don't.
And that gets go ahead, Josh. But that kind of gets me into a tangent that I'm ready to go on about. The reason that Tre Brown supposedly didn't play on Saturday is because he had a bad week of practice. I think that kind of that mentality. I think
F your practice.
I think it's stupid.
Guys, like
That's the way it's always been.
But I think that is so stupid.
But you have to look. I'm not trying to be football guy here, but you have to hold a team to a standard. That's like saying if somebody didn't come to practice, they could still play because you would lose the team eventually.
Well, do you not lose the team when you don't play your best players?
Right. That's the way I look at it.
Maybe Tre Brown needs to just practice a little bit harder.
Football guy.
You need to put him on the field. Sorry, Josh.
No, you're fine. Like I'm with you guys. Like I don't understand how Norwood always just seems like he gets a pass. Like this Mr. Consistency thing. Yeah, he's consistently okay. Like I mean, then that's fine if that's all you need and that's all that you have. But in Tre Brown, I mean, I know you guys have talked to Carey Cooks and everybody else. That's the guy that has maybe more ceiling than anybody else in Oklahoma secondary.
Here's some numbers, and this is getting a little numbery. But it's 3 games, and you can say, well, the stats don't tell all the story. They do tell some story, though. Parnell Motley, he's been targeted 18 times this year. I've already said that. 13 times in the Iowa State game. That's how much they went after him. So 18 times he's given up 10 receptions on those 18 targets. So half the time he's defending, on the other half they're catching the ball. Tre Brown, he's been targeted the second most of anybody in the secondary. 11 times he's only given up 5 receptions. So he's better than 50%. He's 45.5. And that's the best receiving percentage on the team in the defensive back from the corners of guys that play a lot. Like Tre Norwood, this is not good. He's been targeted 6 times. He's given up 4 receptions. So 2/3 of the time, Tre Norwood is giving up a pass when he's asked to defend somebody. That's bad. I don't care what.
I wonder what the longest play he's given up this year is. Because I feel like he keeps a lot of stuff in front of him, just based off my memory.
He's given up...
unless he gets juked.
I would say it's not any more than 15 yards.
47 total yards. 25 is the longest pass he's given up.
Yeah,
I think that was in the UCLA game.
So you're looking at an average of 12. If you're looking at 47 yards on 4 catches. You're
Whereas
looking at 12.
Parnell Motley's giving up...
The Butler thing's going to skew that.
His longest is 57, but he's given up 21 yards per reception. Tre Brown's given up 14 per reception. Norwood's given up 11.8 per reception. So
and that's one of those things you get into it. Are they not going at Norwood because his coverage is good? Like I mean that's what kind of comes to the back of my mind, because if he was that easy to go at, why wouldn't you go at him more? Or school's just not aware of it yet.
I think the other thing you see, Motley very much more eager to be man-to-man and right up on someone's face, where Tre Norwood doesn't have a problem kind of scooting back 5-10 yards to give that little cushion.
By the way, Brennan Radley-House, I'm sure people are screaming, what is his? 9 targets, 5 receptions given up. So he's the same as Motley, both 55.6. He gives up 8.4 yards per reception. So that's the lowest.
Yeah, but he's also playing usually against a different kind of route.
Playing shorter routes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I'm on the Tre Brown train. I'm still there.
I just don't understand how he doesn't get on the field on Saturday.
He just would get in on dime. That's it. They did. They go to dime a lot more than I thought they would.
Doesn't make sense.
The last couple weeks.
Did you guys think it was interesting when they brought him in on dime and they ran that? And I talked about it in the Idiot.
That Tre goes to corner.
Where they had Brown went to corner and Norwood blitzed up the middle.
Yes.
Like if anything, I'm flipping those roles. Like
right.
I mean, because Tre Brown, if he's shown me anything, he might be the best tackler in the secondary.
Which
they're going to need that this weekend.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is going to be a huge test for this secondary.
And you're talking about Norwood's size. Think about Brown just holding up against a receiver trying to block him.
But it's not just Norwood. Everybody is small in the secondary. Parnell,
it's a bunch of corners.
Yeah, Buki small.
That's what Carey wants.
Small.
Carey wants the quick twitch guys,
and that's fine for Big 12 play. But they're playing Army
90% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is not.
He's done with PJ and Banosaurus. He doesn't want 6'2" physical.
Well, that
Doesn't
shouldn't
do
be an
anything.
indictment on 6'2" guys.
Yeah,
PJ
I
and
know.
Banosaurus
Alabama
suck.
doesn't have a problem fighting those
Yeah.
guys.
I'd say he'd take Minka Fitzpatrick and Patrick Peterson if he get his hands on them.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's more of a I haven't been able to recruit these guys more so than I don't like their size.
Well, I mean, it's not like the O'Neal kid, the safety. I mean, they would have loved to have had him. Who's the
Leon O'Neal.
Leon O'Neal, who's the other kid that went to A&M.
Safety. Well, in that
Or
class,
he was probably a corner. I'm trying to think. And
there's the Eric
19
Young
kids.
kid that's
I'm
going
thinking
there.
19 kids.
Oh, are you talking about? Yeah,
That's
you have Young,
Eric Smith.
Yeah, Paul Morris is
Young
their
and,
name.
Eric
and
Young, or-
Carter.
Jeff Carter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Williams, the safety that ain't. I mean, A&M's obviously like Oklahoma having a heck of a class.
So, yeah, I mean, they've got a bunch of small guys in the second. I mean, it's like, don't be surprised when you go out there Saturday and these guys are struggling to bring down these, running backs.
They're going to have to do it by gang tackling.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to have some type of passion to play with.
At some point, you're going to feel like you're watching calf roping at a rodeo.
But at the
Maybe
same
I was the
time,
only
there's
one that
no
grew up
reason.
doing that.
There's no reason. I grew up in the city. There's no reason that
Chicago. Yeah.
there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to tackle these guys, though. I mean, we're talking about white fullbacks. They should be able to be brought down.
Not everybody on the Army's team is white. Mainly the
Is it
linemen.
racist?
Somewhat.
But it's okay.
Their quarterback
you can
is
say
black.
I don't know if I believe you.
Okay, now it's a racist segment. Oh God. Forget it.
How about
How about
with
I
all
read
this-
a sponsorship and we clean our palate?
That's fine.
Guys, I want to tell you about one of our great partners, SeatGeek. Getting tickets online can be really complicated. You guys know this. You have hundreds of sites out there. You don't know who you can rely on. You wonder, if you buy this ticket and I take it to the gate, is it going to be a legitimate ticket? Well, that's why we want our guys, all our listeners, to go to SeatGeek, because they put millions of tickets into one place so you can easily find the seats you want for a price you're willing to pay, and it's something that you can trust. SeatGeek is a major company. They sponsor podcasts all over the country, and there's nothing quite like knowing that ticket on your phone, in your hand, is going to be taken when you get to the gate. So we want you guys to go download the app, because we got a special offer for all of our listeners. You get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app, enter the promo code SCOOP today. That's promo code SCOOP, and you'll get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. So, SeatGeek.com. You know you can trust them. Great sponsor of the podcast, making it happen for us. SeatGeek, life's an event, and we have the tickets. All right, we've cleaned our palate. Eddie learned a lot about hair this week.
I did.
What's your deal with hair?
I don't
You
really
just
have
celebrate
a
it?
deal.
Or is this like a way for you to terrorize Jason Kersey?
It might be a way to terrorize Jason Kersey. I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit we're doing here.
That wasn't a bad tweet last night. So Grant Calcaterra came in on Monday.
I mean, the offense is doing really well, though.
In hair?
Well, just on the field and in here. Grant Calcaterra, not so much. He was our stock down in the postgame show. But as
you
a
could
whole,
tell,
I mean,
like,
we talked
but you
about the
could
defense.
tell
Let's talk about the offense.
with Calcaterra, like, it's bothering him a little bit. He's not catching the ball more. He's not more involved. I brought up the red zone. He was like, yeah, we had a couple chances. We've had a couple plays ready for that, but it just hasn't worked out. But, I mean, hell, you're throwing the ball
One was a miss by Kyler Murray. He had Lee
30
Morris
times
wide
a
open.
game. Most of them are going to CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown. Like, they've just got to find a way to fit him into the offense.
I think it'll come. I'm not overly worried about Grant Calcaterra's place in this offense.
I agree.
Because I mean, even they hit him early for the long pass play and the not touchdown, but the fumble.
The fumble.
He came out after that. I mean, you put the ball on the ground, you're not going to play. You're going to get snaps taken away, and I think that they're perfectly fine with putting Lee Morris out there.
So you calling for Abdul Adams Part 2?
Not necessarily.
No, but I mean, the offense is humming so well. Just because Grant's not playing well doesn't mean that it hasn't affected the offense.
Right.
This is like claiming, like, why isn't the backup middle linebacker coming into the game? Does it matter if everything's going just fine?
You got a lot of those Kelly questions too, huh? No, but look, you've got Lee Morris. He's a good player. He said it the other day. He said, I played as many snaps as I would have, even if I didn't fumble it. So it's not like he's disappointed in his playing time. I just think, like all people, it's natural. You want to catch more passes.
Yeah, he wants the ball.
He had one in the back of the end zone that got ripped out from him.
You don't grow that beautiful hair for nothing.
That's right.
You want the glory.
That's right.
Although we do now have a competition, a hair competition. Do you want to say who the other...
I don't even know if it's a competition.
Do you want to say who the other...
Dillon Faamatau?
No, you missed
Dillon
it.
Faamatau?
You missed it.
Faamatau.
No.
Faamatau.
Ta'u.
I don't know. Faamatau?
Full of F-bombs today, Eddie. I'll let Dillon tell you. How about that? Hold on. Maybe.
Seibert. See?
Here's Dillon Faamatau.
When you grow up with
I know Mike knows the name, but do you want to say the last name for everybody?
It's Faamatau.
Faamatau.
Faamatau. It's not
Faamatau. 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 When you grow up with the name of Radosevich, you have no respect for anybody else's name. It's gotten mispronounced for so long.
You know, that's where Eddie and I differ because I have let's just call it a f***ed up last name. I've
Josh.
I've always tried to be reasonable about getting people's names right because I've heard mine screwed up so many damn times.
Especially by Al Ashbeck.
Huh?
Especially by Al Ashbeck whenever you go on a
show. There's like 1 in every 30 radio host gets within, a vague idea. They might get one of the syllables right. But it's bad. But so yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I guessed wrong last week, though, and I've talked to Dillon through the recruiting process. I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't have it right. So, whatever.
I like that kid. That was we'll have that interview up on the board today. That was a extremely good interview for somebody that I was a little bit leery on if he was going to be good or not in the interview room. I thought that was some pretty good stuff that he had to talk about just as far as actually being a big rotation player. I was going to say a big piece, but I mean, he's a important part of this defense.
Well, and he's been banged up too, which is one of the reasons he didn't have a lot of snaps against Iowa State, and that probably hurt him. But like we said, and like Lincoln Riley said, that's defensive line, no problems there. Don't have any issues.
Well, he's vital until Q gets back. I mean, him and Q.
I even think when Q gets back, like, who gives a shit?
Well,
really?
He's good at stopping the run. I mean,
is he?
Yes, Q Overton can stop the run.
What evidence do you have?
He can't do crap against the pass, and that's why Gallimore always comes in. But Dillon and Q will take turns going up against the run.
I want to see some more evidence.
This might be a statement based largely on size.
Hold on,
but
let me cue you up.
I'd rather
Eddie
go with Dillon.
I would too.
If we're going with,
I'm definitely all in
two.
over Dillon Faamatau.
But I would say in the same breath, I would say Overton's probably, he gets shit on more just because of his size, but he makes a lot of plays, if that makes sense.
Dillon Overton, or Q Overton, makes a lot of plays.
Yeah.
I guess I've watched a different football game.
It's Faamatau.
I guess I would say, I don't know that he makes plays, but he's not going to put you in a bad spot.
He's an unsung hero.
Like, he's just going to be a steady guy that doesn't screw a lot up.
There you go. I'd agree with that.
He's this.
I don't know what that is.
It's a bookend. Just sits there and does nothing.
Well,
wow, this feels personal.
You need...
I just want to know when Marquise
okay,
Overton made all these plays that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's not going to mess it up, and
this.
he's good in the run game.
Did Q get in a fight with Creed at practice? Carey?
No.
He did, didn't he? I knew.
No.
Damn it,
Creed came home and
This is the
Bitching
mountain
and
that I've.
moaning about it.
This is
He
the
put his
mou-
book bag down on the couch, talked to Dad about the problems.
What's wrong, son? Well,
This
they made
is-
me starter today, but
This is the mountain that I've decided to die on.
I mean, I think he's better. Well, you had to get off the Marcelias Sutton mountain because he's playing and looking good. But
Really?
I mean, you're the one that shit on him at the beginning of the season.
I still don't think he's the number 2 back. I don't think he's the number 3 back on this team.
That's crazy.
I want to see TJ play. Like, do you really think like he's going to be the backup for the rest of the season?
Yes.
Like TJ Pledger's not going to overtake him at some point?
No.
I kept asking him about Brooks. I want to see Kennedy more.
You think that's crazy, Josh?
I think that it's crazy that he wouldn't, or that Pledger wouldn't pass Sutton.
Right.
Sutton is Roy Finch to me.
I don't know what people watch with Sutton. I don't know what gets everybody so excited, other than he's little and he's got quick feet.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Then where are all these carries going to come from, Pledger? I would think that they would wanted to get him out there early.
Well, they obviously did not want to play. We talked about this in the post-game pod.
Yeah.
By the way, go subscribe if you're not to the post-game pod. It's just the Oklahoma Sooners post-game. Search it out. iTunes, Google, Stitcher. But the Eskridge Lexus post-game show that we're doing, I noticed, I want to say something about that too real quick. Like, it's not like radio. Podcasts are not like radio. The last review we got, some dude said we need to change the name because he didn't get it till Sunday. Look, most of the time, you need to treat the post-game podcast like you're going to get it on Sunday morning. Because I uploaded that thing at 2 a.m., and it was after a long day, but that's how the post-game podcast, it's still about the game, so it's a post-game. I don't care if it's on Saturday or Sunday. Start calling it the Hangover.
And it will be Sunday this week for sure.
That'd be a bad name.
Oklahoma Sooners Hangover. That would indicate a lot of losses.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, either or. I just it's going to be interesting. The running back rotation now with Rodney Anderson and his situation is extremely interesting because I think Sermon's obviously your number one, and you can make an argument for any three of those guys. I mean,
maybe they can try Q Overton.
Well,
what
go that far.
Now what you saw Saturday, the freshman didn't make a difference at all outside of Buki. Only 6 played, and I mean, Pledger
even
had,
Ronnie Perkins barely played.
Perkins barely played. Pledger had 1 snap. They weren't putting those guys in that environment just
Drake
yet.
Stoops didn't play.
Conspiracy?
Did
Jaylon Robinson, Braden Willis played, but you have to look very hard to find them.
By the way, that was something. Josh, how surprised are you that Jaylon Robinson is on the traveling team, but Jaqualyn Crawford is not?
Stunned. I think there's something to be said for Crawford spent a lot of time doing a lot of hybrid stuff at Rockdale. I mean, they obviously took him all the way to state championship and all that kind of, that's great. But he was he did a lot of wildcat for them. He did a lot of different stuff that wasn't just pure route running receiver kind of play. So I think there's something to be said that he was a little unrefined. He was going to have to learn his way. For me, it's more surprising that Jaylon Robinson has hit the ground running so fast. I mean, coming from a small private school, hadn't really played elite competition. I felt like there was going to be a step up for him. But the things that I thought would work for him is not really what he's having success with. I mean, he's been good in run blocking. He's done all the little things that I thought it would take time for him to get a grasp of.
Yeah, for those wondering, the 5 freshmen played all 3 games so far. Pledger, Willis, Jaylon, Perkins, and Buki. That's it.
Well, unless something changes, I would think that Jaqualyn Crawford is headed for a redshirt year.
Yeah.
And that's what Lincoln said when I asked about it a couple Wednesdays. He said it just looks like he's probably more suited for a redshirt season. So I'm not too surprised. A little surprised you don't really even see him, even out there. But it does sound like he's definitely headed that way.
You know what's going to happen. They're going to put him on the field against Army. He's going to score a long touchdown because he's fast. And everybody's going to be like, he's got to play every day. Like they're going to want him out there. And he's just not ready, but he can still run by anybody.
You know what? I mean, I think about I don't even know I lost my train of thought. It's terrible.
Was it good?
No, it was I was pulling up Pro Football Focus because I want to look at offensive stats. I know what I was going to talk about. Is you mentioned about his blocking, and that's one of the things, like, when you watch CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown, they block their asses off.
Look at the Miles Tease touchdown right before halftime.
Exactly.
And the other thing, like Marquise Brown, that Iowa State game probably best illustrated how far he's come as just a receiver. He's not just a run down the field deep guy anymore. He's finally showing us some other stuff.
Yeah, he had 3 crucial third down conversions going down middle of the field, not just using speed, become a much better blocker. For sure, he's making himself an all-around threat.
They're giving him some short passes, letting him get some yards after the catch. I mean, that was the first big pass play.
Yeah, and I guess this would be a good time to bring up a guy that we haven't talked about yet on the podcast, and I'll be the first to admit, Kyler Murray's been, I don't know about a ton better than I thought he was going to be, but he's been, and Carey, we talked about it a lot during the postgame podcast. That performance on Saturday up in Ames, that's what Baker Mayfield did a season ago. As far as every time that they needed an answer, you turned to Kyler Murray, and he either did it with his legs or he did it with his arm.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive. And, he does things differently with his legs.
A lot differently, but
and you can see, like, Lincoln is
he even stays in the pocket more than Baker did.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give Baker credit. His senior year, he really just was a pocket quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he was doing that probably just to show the NFL, I can make all the plays out of the pocket. But it is kind of interesting that Lincoln was willing to use Kyler as a runner as much as, because I think everybody's like, well, we're going to be smart. We're going to, we don't want to do anything to get him hurt. But I think the fact that Kyler is so good at getting down, he's not reckless when he runs.
Yeah, he's not looking to make contact with
that.
anybody.
Allows Lincoln to say, okay, let's run him some.
Josh, have you been surprised though how much they used him, and especially with called runs? I thought that was something that was going to be interesting, and particularly when Anderson went down, was the next question was who is going to be the guy in the OU backfield as far as running backs. But I mean, when was the last time I heard Al ask somebody on Monday about this? When was the last time an OU quarterback led the team in rushing in 3 straight games?
Wow. Maybe Steve Collins, Carey?
I have no idea off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think about.
I don't know. I asked the question. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. No. But, it does surprise me. And I think you guys, how I love the run game. That counter tray where it's a clear run for Kyler, that's amazing. Because that's just, because they talk about it all the time when they get into, the run spread and all that stuff. Well, when the quarterback keeps the ball, the defense is at or the offense is no longer at the numeric disadvantage. They get to put a hat on a hat kind of thing. And that is, with Kyler, it almost answers your question, because with Trey Sermon, he can do a lot of the things Rodney Anderson can do. He can't be the home run back that Rodney Anderson is. He's not going to turn a 15-yarder into a 70-yarder. Kyler Murray can. So you almost get that little piece you need of Rodney from your quarterback if you can use him properly and not overuse it, not ring that bell too many times. Because let's just face it, we know what we're talking about here. This is a quarterback that's a smaller guy. You can't put him in harm's way over and over again, no matter how good he is at generally staying out of harm's way. Eventually, he's going to take a big hit, and that you just can't avoid that. So I think as long as Oklahoma's really smart with it, I love that call where they've got, Trey Sermon out there lead blocking for Kyler Murray. That's genius. And if the offensive line can kind of clean up some of their issues, and I think that people have kind of asked me, are you concerned about where the O-line is? I'm not. I think it's going to be fine. I think it looks a lot like people forget early last year they had some struggles. They were still kind of putting it all together, and that was a unit that returned almost completely intact. So,
Sorry, guys.
Get to the fridge.
Fine.
Grab yourself a Native Amber,
I thought he
an
was done.
F5 IPA, or any of the great Coop Ale Works beers. because it's time to make a toast to this week's player to watch.
All right, it is our Coop Ale Works players to watch, and Coop Ale Works, fine sponsor, not only this podcast, but also our post-game podcast. Very sad that we didn't have any native ambers or horny toad blondes with us this weekend in Ames. But Coop Ale Works, 9 years, they've been a craft brewery in Oklahoma City. They got 7 year-round beers and 4 seasonals. So make sure to stock up your tailgate with some of Coop's F5 IPA or my favorite, the Horny Toad Blonde, before the Army game this weekend. It's 6 o'clock, so thank God you can actually go out and tailgate. Go get that Coop Ale Works and take a picture and send us a tweet about it, and we'll retweet it for you. A lot of people doing that. Appreciate you doing that. Josh, you led me into wanting to throw this out there because you were talking about the offensive line. We're talking about players to watch. I'm going to bring up something that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the fact that Bill Bedenbaugh came out and said definitively that Creed Humphrey is now the starting center. It's not because he could be my son. That's not why I'm bringing him up. I just think that this offensive line has really not gelled over the first 3 games, and I think this is a direct result of that. Like, we need to go ahead and name a guy and bring some continuity to this offensive line, and this is a great week for them to really kind of come together, establish the run. So I'm making Creed Humphrey my Coop Ale Works player to watch. Eddie, feel free to chime in with yours.
I thought it was interesting the way that Bill Bedenbaugh announced it. It's like, so you guys have a decision? He's like, oh, yeah, it happened. It happened.
Yeah, it happened today.
It happened today.
We were like, what happened?
Everybody was like,
today?
So it's Creed? He's like, yep.
Yeah, it wasn't really like that hard to deduce.
I'm gonna go with Curtis Bolton this week.
You've stolen
Is that
Bob's
the guy that
player
you're
to
going
watch.
with? Well, I mean, it makes sense though, because I think that obviously the linebackers, and I asked
Where
Kenneth
God,
Murray
you two
on
share a brain on these things.
Must be the Cubs thing. The
Kicked me out of making Kyler Murray the player of the game in the post game for Seibert.
Well, because Seibert, I mean, he's captain. But Bolton should be able to make a lot of tackles this week. Triple option game. I joked with Kenneth Murray on Monday that this is the type of game a linebacker should come in the week of and think I could set a school record for tackles in a game. And I had to look it up, but the number is 23. Jackie Shipp in 1981 against Missouri. That's probably the most work Jackie Shipp did in the last 50 years in that game.
Okay. That's not true at all. He didn't stop recruiting until about like the last 3 years he was here.
Oh. We all know my opinion on him.
He's a great guy to deal with, too.
Oh, sure.
No, he wasn't. Josh can attest to that. Josh, who are you going with for your Coop Ale Works player to watch?
First, I want to thank you because I just knew Bob the shit was going to roll downhill. Bob was going to take mine, and then I was going to have to. Everybody was going to be scrambling because of Eddie's singular choice.
Eddie took Bob, so I'm trying to give Bob a chance to regroup.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to go with Ryan Jones. I think when you look at how Oklahoma's going to have to align against Army, he's going to be on the field.
Yeah, that's true.
75-80% of the time. That's just the way that's going to have to be. And we talked about earlier in the podcast. He's had some tackling issues that I frankly didn't notice. So I'm going to have to kind of go back and look and see what I can find there. But I think he's been outstanding. I think this could be a game where you start to see him become a guy that Oklahoma is going to try to find ways to get him on the field just because he is a difference maker when he's out there.
By the way, I think you might have to go back to the UCLA game to find most of his issues because I know he did not have a particularly good game that day. Okay, Bob. Did he steal yours? Your secondary? Have you had your first and your second stolen?
I just ready for Bolton because he has to prove why Caleb Kelly can redshirt. He drops the interception. A lot for him to work on from
he did drop an interception
from the week before. But we'll go Amani Bledsoe. I thought he did play well Saturday against Cyclones, but this is another game where he should be one of the guys that really carries the load, and you're starting to see that defensive line can play a lot of snaps, and I think that's why Lincoln Riley brought them up right from the get-go, that those guys, it wasn't a rotation on Saturday. Kenneth Mann and Bledsoe played almost the entire freaking game, and you're seeing how good they can be, that they can keep it up. They're not just, 1 or 2 quarters. They can do this for all 4 quarters, and this is a game where Bledsoe can do that once again.
All right, that's your Coop Elworks player to watch, and after much deliberation, we will award Eddie as the winner with the best player to watch this week.
All right. It's the first time I've won.
I got screwed.
Ever.
I got screwed.
Feels good.
Josh's was good.
Do I give a speech?
How about a secondary guy to watch for me? Ronnie Perkins. Didn't get to play a whole lot last week.
Well, he plays on the line.
Second, you said secondary. Get it?
A second. No.
Get it?
Yeah.
Get
You're
it?
better than that, Eddie.
That's
like
a bad
that?
joke.
Did you like that?
No, I think this could be a huge game for Ronnie Perkins. Didn't get to play a lot last week. Kind of, if he has a good week of practice, you got to think that they're going to give him some snaps being at home.
You would think so.
He could have a really good game.
Yeah, I would think that there's a lot of guys that play on Saturday.
Unless they're going to move, like, could they play Caleb Kelly at strong side linebacker for this game?
He'd be down to 1 game left.
They're not redshirting him. And even if they do, I don't understand. I mean, do we want to get into that? Because I don't.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I actually want to talk about that.
I don't understand the idea that he would even want to stay around
for 2 more years.
For 2 more years.
Yeah, I agree. Like, look, if he's going to spend this year learning the position and take it over from Curtis Bolton, and he's figured it out, he's probably going to have a pretty good year next year. Good enough to get drafted and get out of here.
I don't know. I mean, I would think that, I don't know where he is on his graduation track right now, but I would think that he probably graduates at the end of this year. Unless don't
we're still
see
just
him,
overvaluing him because he's a 5-star.
I think there's a little bit of that. I think that there's a little bit of, a part of me that just doesn't want to give in to the idea that maybe he just doesn't have that next instinct or that next level to be a great linebacker at the college level. But
who's the last 5-star, Josh, you can think of that stayed for 5 years? R.J. Washington?
Yeah. Stephen Good did as well in that same class.
Stephen Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Gerald McCoy left after his junior year after redshirting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trey Matuar definitely went early.
He's still looking for a pencil, just running around.
He knows pen. I meant stayed 5 years, not like left in disgrace after 2.
I don't know. That whole thing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
God, Caleb Kelly, I don't care how much he's struggling to start. He does not belong in the same category as R.J. Washington and Stephen Good. Or I would hope not.
You know what was crazy is when that happened, everybody's like, oh, he must be in the doghouse. If there's any guy on the planet who's not in the doghouse, it's freaking Caleb Kelly. That's the guy you build your program around. And if you're in the
doghouse, why would you redshirt a guy to keep him around? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because they weren't redshirting PJ and Bonasaur.
They couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got
we really come off like we hate that kid.
We don't hate him. I just think he was a shitty football player.
No, I mean, like, he's always, like, our proof of this. Like, whatever this guy did here, PJ and Bonasaur was shittier. Like, whatever it was, like, Bonasaur is a lower rung of whatever we're talking about.
I mean, we just kind of are. I said awful things about Q Overton today.
I've learned to live with myself.
Speaking of guys that will be coming in soon that we can just talk crap on, we're going to Wichita tomorrow night. Thursday night. It's Wednesday. We're recording the podcast to see Marcus Hicks. Thanks to the good folks at Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Going to gear us up, give us I don't know why, could give us a brand new 2019 ES to drive up there. Eddie, I might let you drive it.
I don't want to drive it. I don't know if I want that pressure.
But we cannot stand on the Wichita West sidelines.
It's at Wichita West, and they told us that we can only stand on the visiting team sidelines.
I'll be standing wherever I want to stand.
Do they think we're going to show up like in pom-poms or something?
Well,
I feel like Eddie's going to piss on the 50 of the west sideline.
that's the most ridiculous
He'll
thing
just
I've
piss
ever
in
heard
the
in my
Gatorade.
entire life. There are probably people in this market that would go up there with pom-poms and cheer on Marcus Hicks.
Yeah, Josh, it was
Maybe
weird.
commit a secondary violation.
He
while
was
they're at
like
it.
talking about rival.
Start a YouTube channel about it and be a fake.
All right.
There we go.
I mean, let's get to your terrorist list.
You want to? Because I have it.
You should see the grin on his face all of a sudden.
Number 1.
No, you got to count up.
Count up.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah,
5.
5.
Yes.
People that refer to Adrian Peterson as AP.
Okay. This is a good terrorist list. I like this.
Number 4.
thought this was
Osama
gonna-
bin Laden. Number 3. Al Qaeda.
Okay.
2.
Oh, God.
2. I don't have a 2. Number 1. Timothy McVeigh.
Okay. I thought it was going to get funny, but it just got dark.
It got dark in a hurry.
Well,
It started really good, Eddie, and then it went weird on us.
Joel
It went-
Osteen's still
it
number
was-
6, though.
It was too sincere for you. Like, those are real terrorists,
Yeah. Well, it's a terrorist list, Josh.
obviously.
But it's just your top 5 terrorists. It's not like your favorite terrorists.
I don't have favorite terrorists. We're talking just top 5 in general.
Could number 2 be the
Mega
the crew
churches?
out of
I
Kansas?
thought it was going to be like TSA agents or something.
No. Maybe mega churches.
How was the anal cavity search?
Well, I went through the TSA, and I was getting my computer out of my backpack, and I actually had a TSA agent, come up to me, and he just tapped the top of the computer, and he's like, "Have fun up in Lawrence," and I said, in Ames, and I was like, "I appreciate it, thank you."
Josh, you'd be proud
So he
of
definitely
me.
listened.
So Eddie got the rental car for the first time under his name. We went from Des Moines to Ames. I sat in the back seat.
No.
And I just let him drive me around. But I feel like I got to call you guys the boys. I just let the boys figure it out for themselves. Like, Eddie had to actually use cognitive reasoning and figure out where to park, and
I mean,
I didn't help him at all.
It wasn't my first game.
Yeah, but it was like watching two guys.
It's like I'm 31. I know what to do.
It was like
here.
watching two guys learn how to ride a bicycle.
I don't think it was anything close to that. I think you're giving yourself too much credit.
Yeah, okay,
I've just done
Carey,
everything
I know-
all the time, and it was nice to see you kind of figure it out on your own. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, you, first off.
I've gone 6 seasons going to everything by myself.
I should say Bob.
But I'm not talking. Bob was just
while.
sitting there. He was no help at all. Like,
Ames is a weird town to like get around.
yeah,
It's kind of, I don't know.
it was
It's
evident.
it's
It was
definitely
evident
weird.
that you were having a time a little bit, but everybody does.
This feels. I know this feels for you like a big moment for them.
Yes, it is.
I think
I'm
in
proud of
reality,
them.
it's a big moment for you.
No, I'm proud of them.
I know.
They're
that, no.
operating on
I
their
know
own.
that you
I don't
are.
know that they even need me anymore.
I know, and I think that's the deal. I think you, Carey.
It's freedom for
you're
me.
You're a papa. You want to be needed. You like to be needed.
No,
Yeah, you do. Because you
just-
like to do all this shit. You're the only person I ever ride with that I ride with. Any car I'm ever in, I drive.
I let you drive when we went to St. Louis to see Ronnie Perkins and Michael Thompson.
That's true. That's true. Honestly, I mean, think of all the time. Well, not
'Cause
all
I
the
didn't
time.
wanna-
Not like we've ridden together a lot. Certainly not like you and Eddie. But I've ridden with you enough, and you always drive, and that's fine. Like, I don't care.
I'm a
But
control
that's-
freak.
You are, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm saying this is a big thing for you, because you kind of you let it go a little bit.
Yeah, there's truth to that. I'm proud of you, Eddie.
Thank you. I'm proud of
You
myself.
parked a car on your own and figured out where the parking lot was.
You're grown up, and you're grown
You're grown
up.
up and you're grown up.
It's like I read a map.
Then it is a pain in the ass when you're pulling up Google and you're driving
No,
and
it is.
trying to figure out, should I go right or left here? What lane do I need to be on? Just,
Shitty setup in Ames. I'll go ahead and say it.
I've never had a problem with Ames.
I don't have a problem with Ames. It's just everything that. But it's second,
everyone hated it.
It's very second class.
Yeah, it's become that.
It's
way.
like a minor league. It's like a minor league of travel.
The only thing that's because like TCU is now they've got a little palace. Baylor's got a new place.
It's easy to get to.
Like it used to be like Floyd Casey. You would go to that and you'd be like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
But now the place you go to and you go, oh, this is terrible, is Ames.
Yeah,
they've fallen behind.
I mean, the no air conditioning in the press box is just ridiculous.
K-State is great.
K-State has the best press box in the. K-State and Texas Tech are the two best press boxes in the Big 12.
In the league, yeah. I've been to Texas, so I don't know
and
what
OSU's
that's like.
not bad.
OSU's very nice.
Never been to Texas, obviously. But the whole idea of no air conditioning up there and then no water, that's absolutely ridiculous.
And the whole not letting Bob Bowlesby have water, which I'm sure you were okay with.
It was pretty funny. I wish I would have been there. Dillon had to tell me about it.
Okay, so, Bob, we've got some basketball recruiting going on right now.
A lot of basketball recruiting.
And maybe some shenanigans?
It's just, I don't know how to say this last name. I usually go YouTube, I put in their name, try to hear someone say it.
Mm-hmm.
No one has said it. Iwuakor.
Eddie, give it a shot.
I don't recognize basketball players that haven't committed.
Iwuka?
Maybe. It could be. I don't know.
Iwuka.
So just call him Victor. So he's down to OU and Texas Tech. He'll announce. By the time you put this up, he probably already have announced. But
shit, why did I even bring this up then?
But it will be interesting. The Sooners have felt confident for a long time. The Red Raiders were the last school to get the official visit. So we'll see how that goes down. Then tomorrow, Jalen Hill, 4-star wing from Vegas. He looks like he's an OU lock at this point. It's something that
it seems like everything's kind of been pointing in OU's direction for a while, right?
Yeah, so they're not really worried on that one. So you could start the week with one commit and end it with 3, and then they've got a couple more kids coming in this weekend as they just keep bringing them in. And what you liked is that when they miss out on a guy like Christian Braun goes to Kansas, Samuel Williamson goes to Louisville, they don't resort to 2 or 3-star guys. It's just another Rivals 150 kid. There's just been a ton of them that have shown up in Norman during the last month, and you're not going to get them all, so you're just slowly starting to cross them off the list and figure out which ones you are actually going to get. And I think they'll have 3 by the end of this week, and still got a couple more 6 seniors, so there's a lot of scholarships they got to fill out. I think you got to keep 1 or 2 for a grad transfer perhaps for next year, but no doubt Lon, Kruger, and staff done a great job during the last couple months.
Josh, what's on tap for you in the recruiting world this weekend?
I'm going to go catch, actually, this is a 1-game week for me, which is kind of a rare deal. I am going to catch a game tomorrow night in Dallas. Going to go see Denton Ryan, go to West Mesquite. Denton Ryan, obviously the new home of Drew Sanders. Going to get to see him play kind of in a fullback tight end role, a little bit more like what OU, I think, currently has him eyed for. But he's also doing some nice work at linebacker, which I know hasn't been thrown out as a possibility for him. Just a freaky athlete. Just kind of want to go watch him play. Last year when I saw him live, one game was really pretty much over by halftime, and the other game he was a little nicked up. So I really haven't seen him at full go. So I'm kind of anxious to get a look tomorrow. And then Friday, I'll be making my way back to Oklahoma as you guys leave the state to take part in a wedding. So it's wedding season for Josh.
My God, I thought that part of your life was over.
Well, it's Tiffany's little sister is getting married, and Lanie will be a flower girl.
Oh, my God.
Yes, we're very excited
Pressure's
about
on.
that.
Has she been like just walking around the house, just throwing flowers everywhere and practicing?
I keep asking her if she wants to practice how to do it, and she's like, no, I don't want to practice. I know how to do it. I'm like, well, how do you do it? And she does this funky thing with her wrist, like it looks like her hand is curled towards her, like in on her arm, and then she flips it out backward. I don't really know. I almost want to warn everybody. It's kind of like Shamu hitting the water. I don't want anybody in the first row to be injured by the flick because I feel like we could have some some real flower shrapnel getting in somebody's eyes if we're not careful.
Interesting.
A little bit of a bone to pick with you, Josh, that worked for you for, 10 years now, and I was never told that Tiffany had a sister? Interesting.
Eddie,
just noted.
I'm going to say...
Noted.
Do you think that there might be a reason he didn't tell you?
Noted.
It's
been noted. It's been noted.
I would happily welcome you to the family, Eddie, but I'm just going to say you and her are of a little different moral compass. I'm not entirely sure there's going to be drinks at the wedding afterward.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a dry reception.
Yeah. I'm not saying I know that.
Bail.
Prayers for you then this weekend.
Tiffany's a little bit of, not the black sheep at all, because her and her dad are really close, but there is a little, I've never seen her father have a drink. And so I don't know how that goes. Like, I don't know, I'm always like, I'm a little leery. I don't think I've ever had a drink in front of him, so, except at our reception, which, I tore that one down pretty good. His introduction to me drinking was pretty special. I don't know that would have been a fit for you, Eddie.
I think as payback, right. Eddie, you should show up at the reception just ripped.
You got to crash it.
What night is it? Saturday?
Friday night. We will be back. The Wichita game's Thursday.
We're coming back
it's
Thursday
Sunday
night.
This is. I mean, again,
Sunday
this
night
is a
wedding?
Sunday wedding. Something I've never heard of.
Oh, well, then that's all you needed to tell me. I'm out.
Yep. It's a strange one.
I hope they have a nice life, but I'm out.
You're out of both the wedding and the running to be your husband.
You know my Sunday rule. I don't do anything on Sunday.
Yeah.
Be doing a podcast.
I'm glad you have one day where you don't do anything.
Carey has invited me places on Sunday, and I've said, no, I'm good.
He's Walter Sobchak.
I don't drink on Sunday. I don't roll on Sunday. It's exactly right.
You recover.
Most of the time.
Well, you do drink on Sunday. It's just early in the morning.
At Mass, yeah. Communion.
No, I mean like from 12 a.m. to 12:01.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
To 3 a.m.
Oh, that's true.
Anything else that we want to hit on in recruiting before we get out of here, guys?
Pretty lame week in terms of official visits for football.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty
That's
quiet.
kind of interesting, though, isn't it? Because this is one of the
they talk so much.
Games
yeah,
that
they talk
can take advantage
so
of.
much about the night game factor. They're not using it for that way. They might bring in a lot of unofficials, maybe 20 kids.
I would think there's going to be so many extra people on the sidelines and stuff for this game. So many organizations that'll be taken apart.
It's going to be rainy.
It's probably the logistics of having a recruiting weekend for this game is probably not easy.
The weather is not great, and I've talked to a few sources that make it sound like maybe particularly on the defensive side of the ball, there is a hesitancy to bring some of these guys in because it's just not going to be a sexy game.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to bring DBs in and be like, and you're just going to hit the fullback over and over and over again. Like, it's not a great thing. The defensive line, I mean, they're not going to be making a lot of upfield plays. So there's a lot of ways that's not really what you want. If you only get one chance to have these kids on campus, that may not be the visit you want to bring them in for. So I think Bob's right. I think you'll see some 2020s. I think Andrew Raym will probably be there. Turner Corcoran will probably be there. So, I mean, there'll be some good names, but I don't think it's if there's more than maybe 3 official visitors, I'd be shocked.
And do not be on iWatch. Go ahead and enjoy your weekend. I can't
enjoying your weekend to begin with.
And just stay up really, really late and wait for the podcast. So
you mean early Sunday? We're going to record Sunday.
Well, I mean, Eddie will still be drinking. I don't know why our listeners
Saturday
can be.
night.
Is that what you want to do?
No. But if that's what we need to do,
if we survive Thursday.
You taking off Friday morning?
No.
Neither am I. Shit. Be interesting.
It will be.
So we got to get back.
Yeah, so we have to come back. So, any other order of business?
Oh, yeah, guys, we're forgetting one huge one. Oh, you got a commitment this week for the first time in forever.
Jacoby.
That's true.
Scoop kind of talked about it on Friday. I got some word really right before we went up with Scoop on Friday that it was kind of becoming a put up or shut up for Jacoby Jones. He needed to let Oklahoma know he was on board, or Oklahoma was going to have to start getting more serious with some other options. And I think I think he knew he wanted to come to Oklahoma. Bob talked to him after the visit. I think he knew it. I think he just wanted to wait a little while and take some time. I don't think Oklahoma was up for that. And I think they just kind of said, we need to know where you are with this. And I think, he went ahead and pulled the trigger on Sunday. The interesting thing is, because I keep getting people asking me, is he a jack? Is he a defensive end? I think he is a guy that is going to get – it seems like more and more Oklahoma is trying to recruit guys that give them really easy flexibility between the 3-4 and the 4-3. And I think that's where they see him, because the thing I heard was 5-tech. And literally the source I talked to is Oklahoma didn't have one of those. So I think he fills a role that they think gives them more flexibility up front to do things that are more natural to the players rather than trying to – make Amani Bledsoe a 4-3 defensive end, which he's just not, or make Kenneth Mann a pure 4-3 defensive tackle, which he just isn't. So, I mean, there is some movement there in the way they're doing things. And I think that's where it gets down to it. But I know I've had a lot of people ask me if that had any impact on David Agwebu, and it absolutely does not. David Agwebu is a take for Oklahoma. He is a jack for Oklahoma. That there is no relationship between those two players. And yes, I know how to say his damn name now, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, you said it like 7 times.
Boom.
Yeah, when I talked with Jones last week, and when he said he had 0 visits planned, and he wasn't even looking into trying to set any up, it sort of felt like, what are you waiting for then? You seem to know. You just go ahead and do it. And he mentioned the Sooners didn't pressure him on the visit, and I assume it's because OU thought he would commit maybe like a day or two later. And so, yeah, you reach the point where it's like, all right, we got to know, because there's other guys we will take a look at if you're not ready to jump on board.
Is he a guy that, I mean, Josh or Bob, either of you, is he a guy that makes an immediate impact in 2019?
I think he could, because like I said, I mean, they're recruiting him for someone, like they're recruiting him to a role where they don't feel like they have a natural fit right now. So it may be a deal where if he's good enough to do what they want him to do, then yes, because it's going to provide them with something they don't currently have. So it may be he may play by default. But again, Oklahoma's not going to throw him out there just because, we love the idea of doing this, but he's not as good as the alternatives to run something a little bit different up front. So I think he'll play. I went over, I ran Real Sooners this morning. It's up on the front page right now. For those that don't know, it's kind of a breakdown where I go over the previous week's film of a select few of the guys that are committed. And obviously I picked him this week being a little bit more relevant. And I thought he looked really good. I thought he'd shown good growth from his freshman year at Butler. Obviously, playing in that league, the Jayhawk Conference is probably the best, junior college football in the country week in and week out. So he's played good competition. I think he'll be ready. And, Bob, if I'm not mistaken, he's a midterm guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And he's a 3-for-2 guy. I think there was some confusion there, but he was actually, his high school was 2017 class, not 2016. So he is right on track to be one of those 3-for-2 guys.
You notice if Jakiri Daly traveled? I didn't even bother looking that up. I
haven't seen him in uniform all year.
Haven't seen him.
Counts for anything.
I just looked up on the roster to make sure he was still on the roster.
You haven't seen him on Twitter. He's roommates with Mark Jackson. I was trying to do that Mark Jackson story last week. I was trying to figure out who his roommate was. It's like, Daly. Yeah, I'm not going to get any insight there.
That's just I don't think we can say bust, but it's just not looking good. Anyway, there's one more thing I wanted to hit on. I don't know what it was.
Tennis.
Oh, sure. All right.
Oh, Jesus. I was joking, and Bob's now, I've opened Pandora's box.
Just don't bring up wrestling. He won't stop.
Canelo and Triple G? Canelo and Triple G? No.
Screw them. They cost us a chance to go to Buffalo Wild Wings Saturday night. Had to pay a $10 cover charge if we wanted wings. Because that fight was on. That's all right. Chili's was fine. All right. Well, that's going to do it. I'm going to cut a lot of this shit out here at the end.
Leave this part in. It's too bad that Urban Meyer's not dead.
Maybe we could. Maybe that billionaire will give him a seat on that SpaceX, and it'll blow up.
Who?
Did you see that guy that bought up all the seats on Elon Musk's SpaceX trip to the moon?
Put Elon Musk on the...
I think he is. No, he's not going.
He should. He put him, Urban Meyer, and people that call ADAP on the same plane. Send him away.
Next up, on the next podcast, the 6 people that Eddie would like to die on SpaceX. Or you got that list ready?
He just gave it to us. He just gave it to us.
Every person
Eddie,
that's on that ship.
Include some of your terrorist list on that plane just to make sure that they don't return.
We've probably covered every one of them.
Olstein definitely on that
Yeah.
plane, that spaceship, whatever it is.
He's already saved, so what's it matter?
By the way, I did see he was awarded a medal or awarded by the city of Houston, and there were some people less than impressed by it. It's one of those things. Basically, the City Chamber of Commerce, if anyone recommends him for a accommodation, he is basically, unless the mayor steps in and stops it, he will get one. Well, there's no friggin' way the mayor is standing in Joel Osteen's way. So basically, it took one guy for him to get awarded by the city of Houston.
It's sad.
For refusing to open the doors to his church.
Yes, something that he now denies, but, I mean, it's just reality.
All right, I'm going to end it there. Merciful ending. That'll do it. Appreciate everybody listening. Don't forget, go to iTunes, rate and review. We've got some, we're going to have to bring that back here in one of the following weeks because we had a lot of reviews that I'd like to get out on the air. Sign up for the Oklahoma Sooners post-game podcast. That is on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere you get your pie. I did resubmit for Spotify, so we'll see how that goes. But I know a lot of people have been wanting us to jump on Spotify. But tomorrow, Thursday, we'll head up to Wichita to see Marcus Hicks in person. Thanks to Eskridge Lexus of Oklahoma City. Thanks to Choctaw Casinos and Resort in Durant for being our presenting sponsor for the Unofficial 40. Can't tell you how much we appreciate them. So go check them out, ChoctawCasinos.com. That'll do it for this edition of the Unofficial 40. Until next time, we'll be right back here on Soonerscoop.com podcasts.
Podcasts from Soonerscoop.com.